My name is Elizabeth Abreu. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration, and I was told today I was going to introduce Q English from the Department of Health and Human Services. Q?
Thank you. I won't be before you long. I'm only here just to give remarks, and then I'm making my exit off the stage. My name is Reverend Dr. Q English. I direct the Center for Faith-Based. First, I want to honor my friend, Dr. Dennis Dillon, who has been at the front line of this work for many years, and thank you for being the trailblazer that you are. Just a few things I'm going to highlight from our office, particularly as it relates to the Black community and the Black faith community. Our center wants to work with you more intentionally surrounding these issues. I did send this to be put up, but I don't know if it is, but these are all the resources from our center and from the Department of Health. If it is not on the screen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this one sheet in the back. I'm going to tape it down, and then you can go and use your camera and take the pictures as deemed necessary. Okay, so first, we want to also look for ways to help you form public-private partnerships. But the first thing on the agenda, and these are things that may not seem related to businesses, but they really are. First is the COVID is still a challenge. As the president has said, we still have a lot of work to do, and we still have to get through the fall and the winter. 400 people are still dying each day, and that's unacceptable. And millions of people are affected by long COVID. But the good news is we know what we have to do. We all need to keep doing our part, including by getting an updated vaccine before the year end. Our next focus area, and this is very important for us as New Yorkers to realize, is maternal health. The highest maternal mortality rate, death rate, than any other nation in the world. And Black women maternal mortality rates are 3 to 4 times higher than white women. And New York's rate for Black women's death is 9 to 12 times higher than white women. And more than 80% of pregnancy-related deaths were preventable, and the top leading underlying causes are mental health conditions, including deaths to suicide and overdose poisoning related to substance use disorder. So we need our churches and our businesses to become a support system for pregnant women, and we need your help to do that. Next is mental health, particularly mental health in youth. In 2021, mental health in youth was declared a national emergency. And nearly 1 in 5 adults in the United States, approximately 20% of our population, lives with a mental illness of some kind. And yet, in spite of the prevalence, there remains a pervasive stigma around mental illness in many modern culture. And it takes a variety of different forms, from negative attitudes to differential treatment to outright discrimination. And in the African American community, one study showed that 63% of Black people believe that a mental health condition is a sign of personal weakness, and as a result, may experience shame about having a mental illness and worry that they may be discriminated against due to their condition. And fear also could prevent people from seeking mental health care when they really need it. And one of the worst and most damaging statements we lived by, and even in my own home growing up, was what goes on in the house stays in the house, and some things need to come out of the house. And while stigma remains, we need trusted partners to be part of the solution. And we know that many racial and ethnic minorities hold trust and authority in the leaders of their faith traditions, and many express a preference for spiritually informed care. Created, and this is for businesses, and this is for houses of worship. We created a 3-minute PSA for the Black church in partnership with Choose Healthy Life African American pastors, being transparent about their lived experiences, addressing stigma, and moving viewers to get help if they need it. So we have this available as a resource for you to share with your congregation members in church or on your social media platforms as nonprofits and for-profits. And through the work of the center, we are building the capacity of faith leaders to provide or connect to care that is culturally competent. And that pastors here in New York and business owners and those that have been at the front line are also in need of mental health care, because many of us are leading while bleeding. During the pandemic, overdose deaths accelerated during the pandemic, with CDC estimating that more than 105,000 people died from overdose in the 12 months ending in October 2021, the highest number ever recorded in a 12-month period. So we grieve these losses and commit to continuing our work to save lives at the administration. And as a resource to you, we released a substance use disorder toolkit in English and Spanish. So we'd had it delivered here. We'd love for you to pick up your copy on the way out. You can also download it on our website. And my next to last issue is suicide prevention. Almost 46,000 deaths in 2020. That's about 1 death every 11 minutes to suicide. It is the second leading cause of death for youth ages 10 to 14, and young adults ages 25 to 34. And research shows that these rates are increasing. And we had an uptick of approximately 51% in our United States emergency rooms visits by adolescents aged 12 to 17 attempting suicides. And now for the first time, Black boys ages 13 and older are at the top of the stats as it relates to suicides. So we have work to do. And we ask that you point people to 988, our suicide prevention lifeline, 24/7, no need to disclose names, etc. So these are things we would like to see our businesses get involved in. We want to see our churches get involved in, our nonprofits and for-profits organization. The Black church has always been at the forefront of combating these atrocities, and we need you now more than sheet. Again, are the resources, grants, access to grants, federal, how do you move to the city and state and foundation level through philanthropy? Please, I'm going to leave this because they weren't able to put it up at the desk so that you can scan it from your phone. And my last comment, we are focusing on learning more about faith-based employment, listen very carefully, social enterprises, businesses achieving transformative social impact, providing jobs, training, and support to people breaking through barriers to employment. And if that's you, we need to connect immediately. It is going to be a strong initiative coming out of the center that I'm directing to help connect to needed resources. Again, employment, social enterprises, business, achieving transformative social impact, providing jobs, training, and support to people breaking through barriers to employment. If that's you, you need to contact me immediately. You can email me at qque.english@hhs.gov. That's qque.english@hhs.gov. Looking forward to continuing the journey together until justice has cried her last tear. God bless.
Wow.
Thank you. A great speech. Let's give a hand of applause to you. Okay, like I said, I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA. I'm actually the Brooklyn rep, okay? Today, I am co-monitoring with Brian from Mega Eggers. So we decided he's going to introduce two, and I'm going to introduce two. But before I introduce anyone, I want to talk what's the first thing you need to do or get that costs 99 cents? Maybe inflation, $1.25. $1.25. But what's the first thing you need to get? Does anybody know? I don't hear you. Come on, screw it out. Everybody has it. The lady has it right there. A black composition notebook. First thing you need to get, it's a notebook. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you have questions. Okay? You have a lot of questions, like, how am I going to start my business? Where am I going to start my business? How am I going to do this? So we need to answer these questions. So you need to write it down. With the Small Business Administration, we have resource partners, okay? I think, because I'm actually the Brooklyn rep, I have the best resource partner in Brooklyn. I have a Women Business Center, I have a Small Business Development Center, and I got SCORE. And Veteran Business Outreach too, okay? But the important thing I want everybody to understand, it is not easy opening a business. It's 24/7. No more vacation. It's about your business. And you need to understand that. And you need to speak to someone. That's how come the Small Business Administration, we fund 3 organizations, which is the Women Business Center, the Small Business Development Center, and SCORE. Take the time to call, make appointment, get that free, because I love free. I know everybody loves free. One-on-one counseling, okay? And you could go as much as you want to. And the reason with the notebook, because you might get those senior moments that I'm starting to get, okay? You're going to forget, and you're going to say, I got to go back. So when you have the question written down, and then once you get the answer, it's not just not getting the answer, it's do something about it. Because it's not easy to start your business. Listen, nobody expected COVID. Nobody expected it to happen. That's become so important to speak to a business counsel and get a business plan, a roadmap, okay? You have to know what you're going to do when things don't go right, okay? So we have business counselors that give you one-on-one counseling for free. And not only that, they help you with a business plan. If you're going to start a business, it's really important to get a business plan. When I go on vacation, I got a vacation plan because I want to know what I'm going to do when those days are raining. So that's come when you start a business, you need a business plan. And not just write it and just forget about it. No, because that's a living document. It's always going to change. It's never going to stay the same. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understand it's not easy starting your own business and growing it and extending it. It's hard work. So I just want you guys to know that we have resource partners available. The first person I'm going to introduce, which is one of my resource partners, is Miriam Colon. She's from the Small Business Development Center, and she'll talk about her center. Miriam?
So first of all, good afternoon. My name is Howard John. I am with the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, and also the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce. So I'm here to talk about opportunities in government, small business development, and also looking at how can we use the Black church and our institutions as economic development engines in our communities. So I'll start off with something that I do all the time. So as you all prepare your comments, it's going to be a mountain and a valley. And the mountain and the valley talks about what have been your biggest accomplishment as a business owner or helping businesses or in your capacity, or what's been your lowest time where you have to really grind it and get it out, right? So I'll talk about mountain and valley. So my valley when I was starting a business and I didn't know business development. So I was homeless. I live in Philadelphia trying to, serve people until I figured it out. So my mountain is when I started an incubator for black males in DC with about 25 young black males. I've self-funded it. They were operating at like $50K a year. Now we have five of the men are doing $1 million businesses right now. So that's our mountain and valley, and we'll go around the circle and then we'll introduce our other moderator and go from there. So you want to share your mountain and your valley and your mountain?
I just said my mountain already.
Okay. Your name, and another guest of your name, your organization, and your mountain and your valley.
I'm gonna stand up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, put it right here, yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? I like to talk because I'm little and I'm Puerto Rican. So that being stated, my name is Miriam Colon, and I'm with the New York State Small Business Development Center that's located within the New York City College of Technology. Our services are free of charge. We are funded by the Small Business Administration, and my expertise is many. I used to have my own business once upon a time, so I felt everything, and I was discriminated against because in my day, you get along without the signature of a man.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not giving my age away. I'm just letting you know that we've come a long way. So I'm very happy to be present among everybody that's here. My emphasis is education for economic stability, for you to be able to take care of your family. And that's what I love to do. There's never a no. So if somebody tells you no, you come to me and I go, we're going to make that no a yes with my help. It might not happen today, but I'm going to put you through a path so that you could see a better future for yourself and your family. Thank you.
So can you tell me your valley and your mountain? So we're going to be really quick on introductions because we have like 25 minutes left.
Well, my valley was, I left my house at 18
Okay.
because my mother didn't want me to go to college. I worked 3 jobs. I was that homeless student going to school, sleeping with a backpack on my back, not knowing where I was going to sleep at night.
Yes, ma'am.
And at the age of 27, through the help of my friends, I bought a business, and at one time, I owned a $10 million business.
Wow, that's great.
Believe
Thank
it
you.
or not. So
Thank you.
that was my low and my high.
Thank you so much. So next we'll just do our mountain and valley, and I'm gonna come back around and talk about your services and what you're solutioning.
Okay, good morning, good evening, everyone. This is, my name is Charmaine Lopez. So let me start with my valley. My valley also was my high point. So my valley was being a single mom of 3 phenomenal, raising them in Brooklyn, 2 sons and 1 daughter. At 13, when my daughter was 13 years old, she had a moment of being influenced by the community. And as Malik Yoba stated earlier, she saw a lot of things in the community. And she decided that she was going to leave the house. And I had to go driving all night looking for her. And what that gave me was this desire to make sure that I move my children into a community and environment and invest in their education. And that's my high and my low.
Thank you so much. Next.
Hi, good morning, everyone, or good evening, everyone. My name is Delia Wusi. I'm a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. I am the director, and I will say I'm also a business counselor. And so a high, or a mountain, is I work with hundreds of people who look like us, who are aspiring business owners. And a really, really high mountain is, I had this one client in particular. She was working with the DOE as a teacher, and she loved dance. She used to be overweight, and she used dance to lose weight and get fit. And she came to me, I just started the job about 8 years ago, and she said, I really want to start this business. I really want to start a dance studio. How do I do this? And she came to me literally every week until she registered her business. She began contracting studio space at other dance studios. She got so big that she got her own studio space in Brooklyn. She even got bigger, so she left that space and got an even bigger space in Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. Today, she's an extremely successful small business owner who was able to weather the pandemic. She got contracts with the Brooklyn Museum to do dance classes on the rooftop because that was when you couldn't do exercise indoors. And so that was a really great high to see a business owner that I've worked with from nothing to now working with the Brooklyn Museum and having a very successful studio. A valley of mine is working with clients who have resilience. As a small business owner, aspiring small business owner, you're going to hear no so many times. And sometimes I have clients, when they hear no 1 or 2 times, they give up. Even though I see that spark, I'm like, yo, this idea is amazing, but they don't have that resilience in order to keep pushing forward. So that's my high and that's my no.
Thank you so much. Great share. Great share.
Hello, everyone. Sam Reels with JP Morgan Chase. I would say my valley is probably born and raised in the South Bronx. I understood what Malik was talking about in the 70s. Fort Apache, for those of you who probably recall those days, and seeing a lot of activity back then. I would say that my mountain is being able to have people that believed in me over the years, invest in me, trust in me, point me in the right direction, get me educated, and then paying that forward with inner city kids that I still keep in touch with, a mentor in the Bronx, in the city, and then seeing them succeed, and then seeing them pay it forward. That's really my mountain. Is that every time I meet a new mentee that's working with a younger, up and coming inner city kid and seeing that activity. So that to me is big.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. So moving forward, we're going to have Mr. Brian Garrett, and he is a student, a local student here. So he'll tell us briefly, and then moving forward, we're going to have some questions that revolve around a couple of things. How can we use the churches as an economic development engine, one? And then from your precipice, from your position, small business resources, community development, lifestyle, et cetera, and banks, how can we leverage our relationships to help build that? And the premise is this. One thing we do know is that, you know, our black churches are underutilized resources. They're probably used about 12 hours a week, you know, a couple days a week. That means we have about at least 190-something hours a week to be used for workforce development, for training, for job relocation centers, for education. So I'm here to kind of have a conversation of what we're doing at the U.S. Black Chambers. And the U.S. Black Chambers represent about 40,000 black businesses nationwide. We have a lot of grants, so please go to our website. We have relationships with SBS, SBA, and all the other, you know, certification agencies. And my other hat is I consult for the World Trade Center and the Port Authority, where I run their diversity, equity, and inclusion program for minority and women-owned vendors. Our goal was to award 30% to the minority women community. We've actually done better. We've earned 40% in the agency, so we actually are exceeding our goal. So the question is, you know, from my position and the government side, I look at the church leveraging that as another vertical for business and solving problems in the community. How can the church, and then might tee up, how can you see the church utilizing this space and its resources of people, time, and talent to help build community and build businesses? How can you all kind of respond to that, anybody?
Well, you know, I want to go back to the highs and lows. It was the church being open that made it the possibility for me and my family to be able to start our business.
Gotcha.
When I realized that the reason my daughter was having those challenges, I became a self-employed woman.
Okay.
And I started working from home.
Gotcha.
And the church provided me the opportunity to do that because the church opened the door. I was at the Brooklyn Christian Center at the time. So the church opened its door for me as a business owner to come in and actually have my business functioning from within the church environment.
That's wonderful.
That makes a big difference. And I believe that churches are just a building, it's a physical building that's there, and it's typically open 1 or 2 times a week. But if we open the church,
There you go.
right? If we open the church to mothers that are single, to women who and men who are wanting to start businesses, and bring the like we have sitting on this panel right here to the church, the people already in the church, they already know they want to be in business. No one expected COVID, but it came and it's here, and it's changed the way we do business. So my company is a brand development company. It's very difficult to develop a brand when you don't know what the brand is.
Right.
And where do you find it? You find it by getting that notebook.
Right.
By
Exactly.
writing the
She's right.
paper. Yes,
That's a good
exactly.
point.
By
That's a
getting
good
that
point.
notebook. By understanding who your audience is. By understanding what your resources are. By understanding how to connect to those resources. And then most important from my perspective is then how do you financial aspect that's necessary for you to run a business,
Okay.
a successful business.
So-
So I just want to say the church opening its doors.
So I want to bring in Brian Garrett, and then he's a senior, as a public administration major. So Brian, as a student, how can you look at these resources from Small Business Resource Center? We're talking about get that notebook, where the church can be your first client. We have a bank here that's supporting, you know, your goals because they're supporting this. How can you as a student now with your goals look at other students using these resources? Because we need to have this generation here one day so that we can build more Brooklyn Navy Yards.
Absolutely. As a young black youth, I feel as if these resources are very pivotal and very needed within our communities. Medgar Evers College being one is an institution that really lost and decreased its student population due to COVID, and obviously due to, you know, there being other means to support yourself other than necessarily getting a degree. But we have to kind of change those narratives and change that script, as someone once put, around what that education really holds and how it can be used to really empower yourself and your family structure. Using these tools of SBS, SBA, and the other plethora of tools in a war chest, young people have the advantage to start from a place where, you know, people growing up in the 70s didn't have the fortune, you know, didn't have the guidance, and didn't really have the real structure in place to really help guide them throughout their life's journey and throughout society as a whole. So, you know, starting from a place now where, you know, technology is an advent, and, you know, this technological space is so different and, you know, so much more advanced than anything we've ever known to man. I feel as if young people really have an advantage.
Okay, cool. And I do want to just give a shout. He's 22 years old. Relates to the first steps, getting in a notebook. What's the next second step for people to kind of position themselves in order to start a business? Is it credit? Is it knowledge? Is it what do you want to share?
First of all, I'm going to admit, I'm not on the front side of the banking side. Those were other people that were here. I'm actually a category director responsible for, I'm a purchasing agent for JP Morgan Chase. So I buy services for the bank. What do I buy? Security, real estate, HR, consulting, advisory. And the first thing I'll tell people here is that understand the rules of the game. The biggest challenge is I grew up in the South Bronx, not tall enough to play basketball, too small to play football. I played handball, right, for those of you that recall that, right? So I played the game that I could, and I figured out the rules, right? So understand there are some basic rules in getting into any institution, whether it's JP Morgan Chase, TD Bank, Citi, all of these have rules, right? The first rule is get certified.
Get certified.
If you're a minority business, I hear a lot of minority business owners saying, I'm not going to get certified, including friends that I grew up with. And I'm like, are you losing your mind? Like, get that certification. Because that's just a ticket for entry. It doesn't guarantee anything. It's like a degree. Getting your degree, as you all know this, right? It doesn't guarantee you anything. All it does, it opens doors, right? And so it provides access. And so from my perspective, understand the rules that are being played in the space that you're looking to get in, and understand back to this whole scope and brand that you're focused on. I'm not going to compete with American Airlines. So I'm not going to try to get an airline contract. I'm not going to compete with JLL. I'm not going to try to get a contract to do what JLL does and CBRE and other big firms, right? I'm going to try to figure out who are the subcontractors that JLL and CBRE uses, right, in real estate. Right. I'm going to try to figure out what is HR doing now? Like, what's the training? What's the development need that they have? And figure that out and sort of build, again, try to figure out how to connect. You mentioned earlier the church. I've been a board member on a Catholic organization in the South Bronx, right? The connection there was establishing development programs, right? Computer skills. We have a lot of kids graduating from colleges that don't know how to work Excel,
and adults.
PowerPoint,
And
adults,
the entire community.
right? So part of it is like, hey, I'm willing to volunteer weekends with the local church to come down and train people. So is making these connections and figuring out, hey, are you willing to come back? You hear people doing things here that you may have of interest for your particular community or church or whatever it may be, invite them over and say, would you be willing to come down and talk about it? Again, it's by chance that that's going to happen. Malik spoke a lot about, like, he traveled, and just by conversations, something snapped, right? That's how I think it's going to happen.
Right. So what I heard was first step, write some notes. Second step, learn the game and research. Our small business services, SBA, you know, what are just two first steps that they should start? They got the notes, they understand finances, what's the next, and also certification, great point. And we actually have a Buy Black app, so if you go to buyblack.us or buyblack.com, you can, it's a slew of them, but I want you to take that.
Hi. So the two things that I advise my clients who come in for business counseling, one, network, right? Not one business mentor, you want to get several. So as we mentioned, the SBA, you have the SBDC, you have women's business centers, you have veterans. You want to get as many mentors as you can, because the reality is, there may be some people your personalities don't match, or there may be others that, maybe they provided value, but not so much. But it may be that one mentor that you go to that says something, that light bulb clicks, right? And so I say mentorship. And the reality is the majority of black-owned businesses, we don't get enough mentorship that we should. Your tax dollars pay my salary, they pay Liz's salary, and they pay Miriam's salary. So why not use it to your advantage? The next, so you said 2, so we spoke about 1 and 11, but I'm also a small business owner. And so my business is my 3rd child, right? And so it really is. But the thing that I would say is a business plan. And I know, I studied finance, my first degree, and I have an MBA. We did not learn anything about small business. It was like corporate finance. So when people hear the word business plan, it can be very intimidating. You're thinking like a 20, 30-page document. It does not have to be that deep. One, if you get your notepad out that Liz spoke about, write this down. It's called Centro App, and I'll spell it.
Centro App. Listen, I need to know this. Centro App.
So CENTRO and then app, and just Google it. And then you download it on your phone. And literally, whatever the algorithms are in the back end, you answer a few questions. This app is literally able to build you a nice base foundation within about 20 minutes of answering questions, typing a few things in, but that gives you a good foundation, right, in order to then meet with the business counselor to kind of fill in those gaps. So 1, get yourself a mentor, and 2, start off with the business plan.
So I'm going to slide in here, and I'm going to hand it off to this gentleman. So mentorship, I want you to talk about that briefly, all right?
Yes, you touch on mentorship and the importance of it when entering any field, but I really want you to kind of hone in more so on that point. How important is mentorship when entering any field, but especially business, especially for a demographic hasn't received that guidance historically?
And before that, I'm going to say something. So mentorship is reciprocal. So I believe in the reciprocity of mentorship. I don't believe in just charity helping, but I want you to help me as well. So I need you to send an email, and I'm spending 20 hours with you, just send 1 email. And one thing that I do know that we, as our community, we go to people for mentorship, but we also go looking for charity. Mentorship says, I want to help you, and you help me. So can you talk more about his question? And I wanted to premise it on the reciprocity, because we all need to help each other.
Sure, okay. So I would say with mentorship, the reality is 92% of small business owners, successful small business owners, say that they have business mentors, right? I mentioned earlier that not enough of us use business mentorship. It's critically important. I don't know everything about small business ownership. I've been a business counselor for 8 years. I have my own small business. I don't know everything. But there are some things that I do know, right? I have met with hundreds of small business owners. I pick up things along the way that I'm able to tell you about. I'm able to pass on information about resources from the Small Business Administration. I'm able to tell them about this Centro Business app. I'm able to maybe connect them with another small business owner who's doing, and I met a couple today that I want to put them in contact, because it's all about, it really is all about networking. Who you know, that's the reality of it. And maybe Miriam, because she's also a business counselor.
So the questions posed are very important, but the reality is that everybody has a God-given gift that you could turn into a money proposition, period.
Say it again.
Everybody has a God-given gift that you could turn into a money proposition, period. I don't care who you are, where you came from, and I tell people, are you from Mars? Are you from Venus? And you look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm gonna say, where are you from? And everybody say, well, I'm from Africa, I'm from Puerto Rico, and you know what? We're from the planet Earth. We're citizens of the Milky Way, the galaxy, and we're all in this room together, and we are one race, period. You got me? So everybody has something that you could turn into a money proposition.
So as we talk about going into the business, because again, I've been mentoring businesses for years. I've been an owner for 11 years, and my whole passion 24/7 is mentoring businesses. What I'm seeing now is that they're not solving problems. These are passionate entrepreneurs hoping someone gives them an opportunity. Those who solve problems, opportunities come to them. Okay, let's say it again. I want you to hear this, please, because I sit in front of groups a lot. It's important to solve a problem. If you solve a problem, people will be knocking on your door. And don't back your way into something based on just because you want to do it, and you try to get everybody involved, and you're wondering why nobody is supporting your business. You're not solving the problem. If you solve a problems, what are some ways that we can solve problems when it comes to looking at how we understand the life cycle of a business? Because one thing that I realized is that, you know, I've been in business for 11 years and I feel like I'm still getting started. And what I think I love that she humanized this whole entrepreneurship piece. It is tough. You're birthing something. And I know we have a lot of women in here, you know how painful that is. And you don't take a time off the birth. You are birthing 9 months or whatever straight until it's finished. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they take a little time off too soon, and the baby's premature, or the business premature, and it dies. Right? So let's really think about what it really takes to grow something that's going to be sustainable and that's going to be able to put food on our tables, but also help open doors for other people. So as I toss that question up, I want us to kind of think about what are some other avenues of mentorship, of resources that you have in order to support those who are actually solving problems. So I just want to hear resources, because I know we have websites, I know we have grants, I know we're lifestyle coaches, I know we're doing a lot of stuff. So what are some resources in that frame to help people get over the hump and the difficulties of starting a business and running a business?
I would say that there's a lot of free services in Brooklyn. We are blessed to be in Kings County, and that there are a lot of free educational classes to prepare you to know what it is that you love.
What website? Where?
And
Give me some website. We need answers. We need
like,
websites.
well, there's.
You go to that small business, SBA.gov, and put /New York. We have a lot of information how to start your business, about government contracts, or even we have free online courses. We even have free online courses to start your business plan, because you do need a business plan.
You do.
So you really need that. So there's a lot of, and then you could also, who was my resource partner? You put a zip code. They'll show you the WBC, the SBDC, SCORE. Yeah, it's a lot of information. Not only that, go to that calendar event. We're always doing things. I mean, now we're doing Zoom, but we're coming back, because I'm out here today.
She outside.
She
so
outside.
we're back. We got to go back to normal, guys. We got to go back, okay? I don't know.
I would say the Brooklyn Business Library, and we do a lot of workshops at the library. At the SBDC, we have 24 centers in the state of New York. All of us do workshops. Our workshops are on nysbdc.org. You're encouraged to go and take all the workshops. They're free, and there are a lot of them. And then we have not only that, we have Canva. So as a network, we're able to, I say we don't compete, we complement one another. So yes, and that's very important. You don't compete with one another, you complement one another, because you are unique, and your uniqueness is what brings people to you in your business. And surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Right. And if you want to go after somebody and you don't have the knowledge, volunteer and become an apprentice. Okay? Because people are always looking for help, and they don't know who's going to help them. If you want to learn how to be a beautician, and not even that, because I was a hustler at a young age. I was a loan shark, okay, at the age of 10. My sisters would borrow $10, and I would charge them $15. And they would go to my father, ay, papi, que si miran. And he would say, you know what he would say? How dare you borrow money from a 10-year-old child? She should charge you 100%, right? And I used to put the bottles and, you know, get my little pennies from the bottles. I would swipe comic books, whatever it took, okay? I used to walk a little girl to school when I was in the 4th grade, because her mother couldn't take her to school and from school. Her mother used to pay me $3.50 a week. So you know what? After a while, I didn't have one child. I would be walking maybe 4 kids to school. So now I had $14, right? I was a hustler. So it's not what you can do, opportunity you could do and make it a proposition for yourself. It's difficult as a woman, like I said, in the 70s, but it's not that much different now. But now we have better networks that we could reach out and get grants as women and as minorities, depending on what you're doing.
Listen.
Okay, so it's very important to network and everybody here is a potential client or a potential friend or a potential mentor, or a potential, definitely a role model.
Listen, you guys have some amazing resources in Brooklyn. I'm gonna just say that. You know, I go around the whole country. You have amazing resources in Brooklyn. You have this panel, you have each other. I want to tell a quick story. I went to St. Louis to talk to the community on how they can own the bank, own the airport through the private, a P3 program, public-private partnership program. They could have owned the first black airport in the United States. The reason why they didn't, because they didn't trust each other. They couldn't trust each other. This is St. Louis, the heart of Ferguson, right? I helped start a black chamber there. So they were on the perpetual path to do well, but trust. That's not equity, that's not relationships, that's just understanding your self-awareness. So can we talk about the trust aspect? Because you had to trust a lot of people to get to where you are. And you had to learn how to trust the right people.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a small business owner, one of the things going back to my highs and my lows, right? Because that's the foundation for me. The highs and the lows are my children. I currently have my business with my children. Those same children are my business.
Beautiful.
Okay? So your highs can truly be your lows. And so when you enter into business, it takes trust. I get, people tell me often, how do you work with your family? I also work with my husband. How do you work with your family? I say, I tell them, how could I not? How could I not work with my family? My purpose, I'm thinking the long path. The long path for me is generations, 3 generations from now. So how could I not? I am giving them the foundation. I am their mentor. I am their coach. I learn from them as well because it's reciprocal. I'm learning so much from them. We have a streaming service. And you know, because of the importance of mentorship and coaching, every client that we have, I include coaching as part of all of our packages because yes, you can learn how to build your brand. Yes, you can learn how to stream stuff. Yes, you can learn how to use social media. But how can you be empowered to do so if you need to? I could do it for you. Right? There are a lot of businesses out here that can do stuff for you. Going back to what you said, you want to be able to, anyone can start a business. Anyone can start a business. But are we empowered to? Do we have the resources to? So I say the trust factor is so very important. And this is where the Black Church Means Business Conference is so important. And the church thing else in families and communities than trust. Right? If you don't have trust, you can't move anything. But in the church, there's faith and there's trust. There's a level of trust because we work together, we see each other. We see each other at our hardest times, at our most vulnerable times, right? So you learn right there to trust. But if you take that trust and you come together, you work together, and you form organizations, or you form businesses, or you find opportunities, and you get to those opportunities together, you can actually go where you even thought you could go, as you said earlier, where you even thought you can go, right? So I want to just encourage everyone that's here today that, you know, and I said this before, we're not here just because, we're here on purpose. Okay, I tell my children they are my hope for tomorrow. I tell every young person, our team, everyone on my team are less than 27 years old, besides me, right?
I thought you was 18.
He's 28.
Yes, right?
She 18.
Okay, all right. And why? Because they're my hope for the future. They're my hope for the future. So everyone that's sitting here today, they are our hope for the future. And so they need to see us trusting each other. They need to see us trusting them.
Absolutely.
To lead.
So she's already started the last comments because this is our last comment. So we'll get some last 30 seconds. The recap. I know you talked about some amazing resources. Centro app is an app that I'm going to use myself for the companies I mentor.
I'm going to use it too.
And he's going to use it for his colleagues. So 30 seconds as we wrap up. What you want to share, anything you're working on, and ways that we continue to research the community and uplift us as we continue to develop generational wealth.
Sure. So I know, I do understand the majority of us didn't study business administration. So there's going to be a lot of terminology that you may not be familiar with as you start your business. I encourage you, use Coursera, take an entrepreneurship 101 class, go to YouTube, learn what accounts receivable, accounts payable means.
YouTube University.
Exactly, because this is terminology you need to understand and use when you're meeting with business counselors, when you're meeting with loan officers. or even if you're pitching your business. And then let's do it, like literally just do it. I know when I started my business, my oldest son, when I was launching that website, we woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I held his hand because I was so nervous to hit launch. So just do it. Whether you need your son, your daughter, a family member with you, just do it and network, and get a mentor.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I definitely have to plug supply diversity at JP Morgan Chase. Again, you heard it earlier, $30 billion commitment, $750 million in 5 years. This is our second year. We're going to close out this year giving over $300 million to Black and Hispanic businesses specifically.
Wow, 300 million?
Over 300 million this year.
Wow.
Take advantage of it. So, jpmorganchase.com, jpmorganchase.com/supply diversity. I need you all to go on that website, learn the rules, learn what it's all about, start networking, reach out to me if you want to. My information will be somewhere, but again, I'm always networking, and I know that this is working because I've awarded business well over $50 million in the past year to Black firms alone.
Congratulations.
Beautiful thing.
That's what you're doing. So we have these ladies and we have the gentlemen close, and then I'll come.
Okay. What I like to say also, once you get your notebook, you get your business counselor, and you get your business plan, go find out and open a business account. Now, let me tell you what happened when I was at home answering calls and getting emails when SBA approved someone for PPP. If they did not have a business account,
Absolutely right.
they did not. So you need to do your homework. I know everybody has savings account, personal, and checking. The federal government is not going to put any government money into a personal fund, savings. Okay? It has to be a business account. So if you're going to start your business, you need to go to your bank and say, hey, I'm about to open a small business. What type of business account you guys got? What do I do? Okay, because I'm telling you folks, I got a lot of calls. I felt so bad telling them I couldn't do anything for them, even though they got the stamp, approved, money, funded, but because they did not have a business account, they could not get the money. So folks, open business accounts. Don't commingle with personal and business. You can't do that.
Yeah. Happened to me. I got approved with $53,000 during the pandemic. I was here, my business is based in Virginia, and I couldn't get to Virginia because of the pandemic. So I lost $53,000 because I didn't have an account that was set up here. So she is so right.
That would not have happened to him had he had it in the cloud.
She's right.
So you see the cloud in the sky? Everything is in the sky now, right? So when you save something, save it to the cloud. Your books, your records, your income taxes, your profit and 40s, your 999s, your S corporation, your 1065. All of these are income tax forms that they're gonna ask you for them. If you have them in your flash drive, put them in the cloud. Don't put them in your closet. Sandy came and the water washed it away. And the other thing I want to say is having taught in the church is the best and safest place for your children to learn with people who love them and surround them with encouragement.
Thank you so much.
And amen for that. The other thing, I only want to say one other thing is education is the answer. I left my house not because I wanted to, but because I saw a better future and I knew education was my way out. So I left to educate myself. You could educate yourself right now. Go to your children and ask them to teach you how to don't know how to use. Ask them to put all your records on your phone and pay them so that they know the value of $1. Don't give them anything for free.
Garrett?
We have to encourage people nowadays to know that there's a value to them and that value has a $sign. And if they don't know the $sign on top of the face because you've made it too easy for them, they will be lazy and then you will have a problem and that will be a generational problem. Because you don't want kids at 40. I have friends that have kids 40, 45, 50 still living in their house.
All right, thank you. So we have Brian give some comments, and then we'll wrap up and have Reverend give some.
Absolutely. What I hear on this panel is just jewels, students of the game. people really willing to learn and to really to share. You know, and that's the most important aspect of it all, you know, because a good leader is a good follower. And if you ever stop learning, then you stop living. So, and I think Nas said it best, you know, I left some jewels in his mind and he could sell if he chose, you know. Nasty Nas. So yeah, you know, this panel really came up here to really educate us all and to really share and impart wisdom and to this audience right now. So, you know, I just like to end it by saying, you know, thank you all for being here. I know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us talking today about black business and black growth and black expansion. So thank you. Appreciate it.
I had a dream, I said, about Big, who said, about Biggie said. Ho, I said, remind yourself, nobody built like you. You designed yourself. I agree, I said, my one-of-a-kind self gets stoned every day like Jesus did. What I said, he said, has been said before. Just keep doing your thing, he said. Say no more. It's been an honor. We had a great time, a lot of resources. Please tap in with Reverend Dylan because we're going to be following up soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, let's put our hands together for this exciting panel, y'all. Y'all can do better than that. Put your hands together for them. I don't know if you're ready. We're taking this up. It's going to be an amazing wrap-up. We've got Dr. George Fraser in the house. Come on, y'all. We're getting ready for that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And this young man is the Vice President for Student Affairs at Medgar Evers College. He's a student doing exciting things. Tomorrow, the students from City College of New York are going to be here. The president for City College of New York is going to be here, and a host of other leaders are going to be here.